And I know the reason that so many of our children drop out of schools like Albany State University. And you know the reason too. They can't read. Aside from money, they can't read.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Black Excellence Daily. I'm your host, Sean Croxton. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got Dr. George C. Fraser back on the show today. Today, Dr. Fraser is going to talk about leadership and how leadership begins in the home. It begins with parenting. I hear about these reading tests. And in some cities, like 0 Black kids will pass the reading test. How a small percentage of the kids are reading at grade level. That's mind-blowing to me. And, you know, people, the first thing they'll say is resources. We need more money in the schools. And you know, my mind goes straight to what is going on in that home. How are their parents who are allowing this to happen? Like, what's going on there? Education does not begin and end in the school. It begins in your home, right? Thomas Sowell. You got to check out some Thomas Sowell videos on YouTube. A lot of people criticize him, but he does come with real facts and figures. And in one video, he was talking about how outcomes for Black children are so much better when there are books and magazines in the home. Like when I was growing up, there was books all over my home. My mom was a big reader, right? My dad read a little bit. We had magazines in the house. My dad used to get Entrepreneur magazine and Jet magazine, right? Black Enterprise magazines. Like my parents, they read a lot. We would go to the library together. We would go to the bookstore together. Always encouraged me to read. I was encouraged more to read at home than I was in school. That's leadership inside of the home. And I can't be inside everybody's home, but the way that I was raised by my parents, I'm starting to believe that that's a very rare way to grow up these days. So in your home, you have to be the leader instead of pointing at, you know, whoever. I don't know how all these kids are on the streets right now. You got kids in the streets at 2 a.m. on a school night. That's poor leadership at home. So Dr. Fraser is going to break down what he calls the new definition of success for raising a Black child. And to be honest, it's a little embarrassing. So we have to do a better job of raising our young people. Dr. Fraser is coming up.
Leadership is action. Leadership is influence. Parenthood, by the way, I believe is the most important leadership responsibility that we will have in life, and it will provide the greatest levels of joy and happiness, and no other success can compensate for failure at home. I believe it begins there. If you screw up your children, you have just written your ticket to a living hell. I promise you. And we're not doing well with this. So I'm going to give you a new measure by which we can call success when it comes to our children. So we've got to reduce this down and simplify this so that we will have a measurement that we can look at and feel that we can attain. Here is a new measurement. Here is the new success today for raising a Black child. If you can get your child in and out of high school with a diploma, reading at grade level, not at 6th grade level, not at 7th grade level, but reading at 12th grade level without a jail record and without a child, you have just succeeded. You have laid the foundation for the rest of that child's life. That's success today. That's the new success when it comes to raising our children. But guess what? We're not even doing that. That's not even happening. So how about, let's say, first things first, second things never. Let's do the first thing. Save our children. Because everything we do for our children. Just as everything our parents did, they did for us. So we could put that in the form of a performance goal for all of us responsible Black people. According to statistics, there are 2 million plus Black people earning $100,000 a year or more, with 2 people, adults in the home. So I say, here's a goal. What if each Black person of means accepted the responsibility of saving one child other than their own? One. Now, if you're not doing right by your own children, you're out of this equation. So let's say you're doing right by your own children, as I'm doing right by my own 2 sons. Then I take up the responsibility of picking one more child and saving that child. And what am I asking you to do to save a child? Exactly what I just said to you about what the fundamental goal of our children must be. Get that child, whomever that child may be, in and out of high school with a diploma, reading at grade level, without a criminal record and without a child. You would then save the Black child. I didn't say anything about getting them in and out of college. I said just get them in and out of high school reading at grade level. Now, for those of you who work in historically Black colleges, as many of you do, you will know, and I've read the statistics on the non-graduating population of historically Black colleges, and I know the reason that so many of our children drop out of schools like Albany State University. And you know the reason too. They can't read. Aside from money, they can't read. They graduate or pushed out of high school reading at 6th or 7th grade level, and you cannot make it in college reading at 6th or 7th grade level. You'll come your first day of college, you will be given 6 books to begin to read the first night. You can't read. You get behind. The next day, you get 3 or 4 more chapters and 6 books. You get further and further behind. Most of our children can't read at grade level. So we must fix that. And we can fix that. And we have the capacity to fix that, no question about it. It was Peter Drucker. How many of you are familiar with Peter Drucker? Considered one of the greatest business minds of the 20th century. I'm a huge fan of Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker said there are only 3 things that happen naturally in communities. This is the great Peter Drucker. Only 3 things happen naturally in a community: friction, confusion, and underperformance. The rest requires leadership. The rest requires leadership. So what's happening in our community? There is a void of leadership. There's a void of leadership.
That was Dr. George C. Fraser. His website is powernetworkingconference.com. You can watch today's talk on YouTube. It's called Dr. George Fraser Civil Rights Symposium 2015. That is a killer presentation. Like, you got to watch that. I created like 10 Instagram reels from that talk alone. It's just full of gems. So watch the entire thing. Okay, I'm going to see you tomorrow. We got Rock T on the show, then Dennis Kimbrough on Friday. If you're a parent, like take your kids to Barnes and Noble tonight, or to the library, or to wherever, right? Instead of sitting in front of the TV, pull out a book, pull out some magazines. Like tonight, we're just gonna sit here and we're gonna read for an hour. That right there will leave a lasting impression on your children the same way that it did for me. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.